You are a favorite host. You and Janine and others are doing such a great job. Well, my friends, this week is a very special week for all of us. This is the week that we are actually celebrating together with all of the Christian world the birth of the Savior. And so what a wonderful week this will be. So I hope that you will be reminded to be careful this week. Let's continue to be careful as we go out. I know that some of us will, just to be with friends probably. So that's going to be fun, but at the same time, we're operating on a new normal as what we say. Si Chris, inimbitahan niya ako dun sa inyong Christmas party. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it. I was also having a consulting session with one of my clients. And I was telling my client, because everybody's preparing for 2021, right? And they asked me to talk about innovation and all that. And I was telling them, Chris, I'd just like to share this very quickly before I go to systems. I was telling them that if you really want to innovate, you have to stop focusing on the new normal, but you have to start focusing on the next normal. That sounds crazy, ha? Pag sinabi mo kasing new normal, parang permanent na, no? This is it, pansit, di ba? New normal, eto na. The truth is, what we need to focus on is the next normal. So meaning, yung ginagawa nating innovation is very short shelf life. Diba? And then another new normal, so it's the next normal. And so wag lang tayong mayayamot. Diba? Kasi minsan para nakakayamot, naka-adjust na tayo. And then there's another new announcement of the government, so it's crazy. But anyways, my friends, welcome to this session of E-Myth. For the past 2 days, I guess, or 3 weeks, we've been talking about the technician's mindset. And then we shifted to a bigger mindset, which is the entrepreneur mindset. So now what happens next? That's the big question now. Now that the entrepreneur has created the entrepreneurial vision or the entrepreneurial blueprint, so what happens next? I'm going to show you my some slides as I discuss with you my short message for this session. On your screen summarizes what we call the technician's business operations model. All right? This is it. A technician business operation model has a very simplistic view. The owner or the people run the business. That's it. A technician would always create the business with this very simple model. I'm the owner, I run my business. Maybe if I'm lucky, I can grow my business and start hiring people. Now the people run the business. Now, if you would notice, my friends, there is an obvious flaw with this model. There is a very simple and obvious flaw. And the question is this: paano pagka yung baker mo nag-sick leave? If your bake shop is dependent on the owner, if your bake shop is dependent on your star baker, what happens to your business if your baker suddenly goes on a sick leave? Then we have a very big problem. Why? Because the technician's model is people dependent. The technician's model is owner dependent. And so some of you are operating other businesses. That's something to think about. If your salon is based on the expertise of your people, then the big question is what happens if they go on sick leave? What happens if they leave you? And so your business is highly dependent on that then that's going to be dangerous. Here is the entrepreneurial business operations model. Okay? And so you can you can find this clearly stated in the E-Myth. So, kung mapapansin ninyo, there is a component in the middle. The business is not dependent on the people. In an entrepreneurial model, the business is dependent on a system. Alright? So here is how it reads. People, in an entrepreneurial model, people do not run the business. Write that down. People do not run the business. Systems run the business. Alright? The system runs the business, and the people run the system. So in an entrepreneurial venture, it is not people dependent, it is systems dependent. Alright? It is systems dependent. So anytime na umalis yung baker mo, okay, pag umalis yung baker mo, you can get a new baker, and all the new baker has to do is follow the system that is already created that runs the business. Here's the good news. The good news is, every now and then, we get great people. Here's the bad news. Every now and then, great people leave us. Okay? So, what's the bottom line? We can never own people, but we can own the system. That we can own. And when we own the system, and the system runs the business, then our business will be okay. Alright? So, an entrepreneurial venture is a business that is dependent on system and not on people. So remember this. The system run the business. The people run the system. Okay? Or another way to say it is, people run the system and system run the business. And that's the reason why McDonald's can grow anywhere in the world. Because McDonald's is not dependent on a highly skilled cook. McDonald's is not dependent on a highly skilled manager. If you will notice, I'll give you a educational field trip to McDonald's. Go to McDonald's, and I want you to look for the store manager. I kid you not. This single store is a no-joke store. This single store operates at least a 10 million peso business. Hear me, my friends. Minimum. Minimum. Okay? You look for the manager. And who will come out? An undergraduate thumbsucker. Okay? What I mean by that is, they don't hire an MBA grad to run a McDonald's branch. They don't. So next time you go to McDonald's, silipin mo doon sa maliit na opisina niya kung sino yung manager. And I bet what you would say is this: I'm better than this guy. I'm better than this guy. I look more intelligent than this guy. And probably you are. And probably you are. But please don't forget, that guy is running a multi-million-dollar branch. Bigger than your organization. So now you have to ask, how come this guy can operate a multi-million-dollar business cell? And the answer is right in front of you. Because that branch is not dependent on people, that branch is dependent on systems. The systems run the branch. The people ran the system of the branch. Pag umalis yung kanilang taga-flip ng burger, hindi matatanong tayo manager. Pwede niya ako kunin yung pamangkin niya eh. Bagong gising sa bahay. Halika rito. Uncle naman. Wala kang ginagawa. Halika rito. Ano gagawin ko? Ikaw mag-operate ng kitchen ko. Ano sabihin ng pamangkin niya? Kitchen? How do I do that? Ano sabihin ng branch manager? Ito, step 1. Buksan ang plastic. Step 2. Ilagay sa strainer. Step 3, pindutin ang makina. It's a no-brainer. It's an ATM machine that spits out 50 million per month. That is how an entrepreneurial venture is run. It's not dependent on, again, this will hurt our technician side. We get offended by this, that it's not dependent on us. But the truth of the matter is, it should not be. Well, you have to connect this. And Akina said it so well. There has to be a system in place. Only after an entrepreneurial venture, an entrepreneurial vision is created. So that the system is created based on the entrepreneurial vision. Okay. Mas matangkad ako kay Gerber. Pero masikat siya. Obviously. James, sino ka? Si Gerber, kilala namin. Di ba? So, sabi ni Michael Gerber, sabi niya, James, when you go back to your country, make sure that your clients and everybody know the system is the solution. So if you want now to materialize your entrepreneurial vision, okay, ito yung assignment natin susunod, Chris. Kailangan muna natin yung entrepreneurial vision. Now that we have the entrepreneurial vision, the system becomes the solution in order for the entrepreneurial vision to materialize. The system puts flesh to the entrepreneurial spirit that was created. So now you have to understand all the placing of this. Now the entrepreneur hands over the work to the manager within. Because the manager now creates the system. The system now becomes the solution in order for the entrepreneurial vision to materialize. Because the entrepreneurial vision is just a vision. It's a great vision. Diba? Sabi ni Ray Kroc, now I have to create a money-making machine to future franchisees. Right? That's his vision. That's his entrepreneurial vision. And now comes the system as the solution to make that happen. And so I came home. I started telling my clients, the system is the solution. The system is the solution, according to Michael Gerber. And here comes my client coming back to me. What in the heck is a system? You keep on talking about the system, the system, the system. So James, what is the system? I want you now to understand and memorize these two words. Systems are repeated procedures. Even your 5-year-old kid can memorize that. Systems are repeated procedures. Something that we can do again and again and again and again. So that we create another McDonald's branch and create another 50 million there. And create another McDonald's branch. So now, Titanium 5 will create a money-making machine in the hands of every Titanium 5 agent. It's a freaking repeated procedure based on an entrepreneurial vision created an entrepreneurial system that is an entrepreneurial repeated procedure. This is how we do it. Again, and again, and again, and again. And so when you apply the Titanium 5 business system, it will create for you your ATM. It will create that ATM. And it's a repeated procedure. And I know you're already there. I know you're already there. I know you already have your repeated procedures. Great. Great. Now I challenge you. Is it based on an entrepreneurial vision? Is it based on an entrepreneurial blueprint? Because the value of your system is only as good as it is based on the entrepreneurial blueprint. Because you will be repeating a technician's procedure. We want to repeat an entrepreneurial procedure. Again, and again, and again. So what is a system? Please remember those two words. Systems are repeated procedures. Okay? Now, Michael Gerber says, work on, not just in, your business. That is the entrepreneurial attitude. Work on, not in. Working on is creating systems based on your entrepreneurial blueprint. So now I have to step back, and now I have to create this. And when you create systems, you're creating repeated procedures. Repeated procedures on what? On sales and marketing, on operations, production, on admin, whatever. Whatever. These are the basic, of course, the basic ingredients of T5. There has to be that sales and marketing repeated. There has to be that production system, that whatever. Okay? So the question should always be, how can this be done without me eventually? How can this be done eventually without me? If you're working as an agent, you're working the system. You're working the system. And you're getting ready because the system will allow you to eventually do it without you being there. So now you grow, and now you grow, and now you grow. Everybody becomes an entrepreneur. It's a ladder that we climb. Because that's the main goal. How can the technical side be done without you as the entrepreneur? And then people start working it. The technicians come in and they grow again. And they grow again. Everybody grows. So, here are the three kinds of systems. Alright? Here are the three kinds of business systems. And we're going to work on this as we move along. You will find this in Gerber's book. I'm just summarizing this to you now. The first type of system that you need to create, again, I cannot overemphasize, the system is only entrepreneurial if it's based on an entrepreneurial vision. So, yun muna tayo. Okay. And now we have an entrepreneurial vision. Now we're creating the system to support that. Well, there are soft systems. Soft systems are words, ideas, practices, scripts, sequences, standards. So when an agent comes in, di ba? When an agent comes in to T5, okay? How will that agent do prospecting? What will be his script or her script? So that when he follows the system, it produces the money for him or her. So, what are words? What are ideas? What are practices? Pag may pumasok sa atin sa T5 sa grupo natin, part of our practice is step 1, you have to read email. Whatever that, I'm just making things up, okay, along the way. All I'm saying is these are things to think about. So, what are the practices? You have to go through T5 University. You cannot sell until you go through that. You have to graduate from this. Like McDonald's, Ray Kroc's Hamburger University. Before you can operate your own McDonald's, you have to graduate from Hamburger University. These are soft systems that Ray Kroc created. These are intangible things. These are words, ideas, practices, script sequences, standards that has to be all there.